Hi everyone, you're tuned to Good for the Game TV. We're live on YouTube with our English Premier League betting show. I'm joined by Chris Sturdy down in Knysna. And I've got to say, Chris, you and I have been doing the show for a few weeks now. And each time I see you, there's a little bit less of you to see. You're losing a lot of weight.
Losing a lot of weight, Brent. Got to be honest about this. I was diagnosed as diabetic a few weeks ago, and lifestyle change, especially with the diet. And last week, I actually lost a record amount last week. The problem was it didn't come off the waistline, but it came out of the wallet.
Right. Well, I hope you got something left for Black Friday. Hey, the bookies have got. I see you started a thread on the Good for the Game forum. Lots of specials from the bookmakers, eh?
Yeah, most of the bookies seem to be playing in one way or another, and it's I think all the information's on there. So yeah, shop around, man, just as you would if you were buying an appliance.
Right. Well, look, just a welcome to the guys that are slowly but surely tuning into the show. Peter Paul is there. He's asking if you can get Gary's horse's name. I'll have a look. I'll get that horse's name from Gary. He's referring to the GG Gaming Gone Mad show, where Gary put a promo up right at the end. A thoroughly entertaining show. I had some panics struggling to get Gary on. Fortunately, things went a bit smoother on the handicap show at 9. And now, Chris, no technical issues, thank goodness, between you and me here. And a big weekend of footy ahead.
Yeah, we're back after an international break. Week 13, English Premier League. Week 13 already, Brent.
Yeah, it's amazing. It flies by. And we really got separation at the top of the table there, really, from the top 3 teams, all still undefeated. But things are really getting to that stage of the season now where, because of the workload, including those teams involved in Champions League, the sort of durability of teams comes into question over this period.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've still got 2 rounds worth of Champions League group matches to play. The Europa League teams, Arsenal and Chelsea, might not be too worried because I think they're home and hosed in their respective groups. But there's still work for other sides that are in Champions League to do, especially Liverpool, I think. So, yeah, it's going to be testing times. And then there's usually a really busy schedule over Christmas. I haven't actually looked ahead to see what it's like this particular year, but the games will be coming thick and fast, and we'll see who goes into the new year at the top.
Excellent. Well, let's get straight into the fixtures, Chris. We've got 7 to talk about on Saturday, and the first of which I want to get your opinion on is Brighton up against Leicester, and we got Leicester here, actually the favourites away from home.
Yeah, when I looked at the betting for this one, Brent, I'll just call my notes up here. You know, Brighton at home, they've lost their last 2 matches, but they were both away from home. Most of their points, I think it's 10 of the 14 points that they've got, they've come from the 5 home matches. Leicester are 3 points better off than Brighton. They've won 3 and lost 3 of 6 away fixtures, so a bit hit and miss there. And to me, there should be more parity, if you like, in the match result market. And at the time when I was looking at this, Brent, which was mid-afternoon today, Brighton were just over 2 to 1. And I thought that, they're probably worth a small play at that price.
Right, so you fancy Brighton there to build on a strong home record at 2 to 1. Leicester, I just find, looking at the under 2.5 goals here, it's actually favoured over 2.5 goals is 13 to 10. And for me, Leicester's a sort of side that can score on the road with the way they can hit teams on the break. But I'm gonna stop looking at the goals markets, and I'm happy to throw your Brighton there at 2 to 1 into an accumulator, Chris.
Yeah, I think it's of the prices available. I mean, Brighton don't concede many goals, and that's why the goals markets reflect that,
Well, good to have Vin Naidu in the live comments as well, and Henrik Swart joining. And the first thing he points out, Chris, is that your counter's looking pretty well organised behind there.
Different backdrop every week. We've got a kitchen backdrop this week.
Excellent. Well, we don't. Oracle hasn't made an appearance yet, but I no doubt if he does, he'll have a comment as well. Let's go on to Everton up against Cardiff City. Everton at home are 4 to 10 to win the game. You can get sort of around the 8 to 1 mark. Cardiff City.
Yeah, I like Everton here, and I think that they can win this with a bit of daylight. 4 wins in their last 6, Everton. I think 1 defeat that came away at Man U. The last 3 at home they've won. Fulham 3-0, Palace 2-0, Brighton 3-1. So they've won each of those with a bit of daylight. Cardiff, big win at home against Brighton, who had 10 men for most of the games just before the international break. Only 2 wins this season, both came in home games. Still in relegation zone, and not really anything in the way of away form to speak of. 1 point from 5 away matches, only scored 2 goals. You know what? If you're ambitious here, Everton to score 3 or more is 7-4. In the end, I decided Everton -1 goal on the handicap. So Everton to win 2-0, 3-1, 23-20 I saw earlier today.
Okay, I like that. I think I saw that price at World Sports Betting when I was having a look at this game as well. I also fancy Everton on the handicap. So nice to know we're aligned on that one, Chris.
Yeah.
And let's go on to Fulham up against Southampton. This game, the bookmakers are already struggling to separate the pair. Fulham perhaps slight favourites at home?
Yeah, I think I'd struggle to separate them as well. The one thing that you can say for Fulham is they've now got Claudio Ranieri in charge. This is his first game. They're bottom of the log after a disastrous run. Lost their last 6, only 1 point from the last 8. First thing he's got to do is sort out the defence, hey? 31 goals conceded in 12 games. 13 conceded in 5 home fixtures. Yeah. I mean, it don't make good reading. But Southampton, well, they're 3 points better off than Fulham, but they're only out of the relegation zone on goal difference. Both teams have won just 1 game. I don't think you could back either with any confidence unless you're one of these guys who likes to think that new manager, there's a bounce there, immediate bounce, and it might well be that Ranieri gets that response. But I couldn't make my mind up either way. Match result and goals markets, you tend to think Fulham is a over 2.5 team, and that is usually the case. But Southampton, it's not the case, and they're not free scoring. 2 to 3 goals in total. My fence sitting option.
Even the money. Where are you? Are you on the live chat? I did see you earlier. I'm sure you'll have a comment for you on that one, Chris. It's an interesting one because I mean, you'd think overs at sort of the 10 to 11 at first was tempting me, but you're right about the manager, and often a new manager starts tightening up the defense before they do anything else. I've got to say, when I looked at this game, I looked at it from many different angles, Chris, and the best value I think I could find was actually the straight draw at 5-2. Maybe
also, as I say, when you can't back any side with confidence, and that's certainly the case here, 5-2 seems a reasonable price for the draw.
Could probably do worse than that, right? Manchester United up against Crystal Palace. United, I think, somewhere around 12 points off the pace being set by Manchester City. They are expected to beat Crystal Palace. They're 4-10, with Palace available at 8-1.
Yeah, United lost the derby to City just before the international break. Down in 8th place again. They looked as though they were putting a bit of a run together, but City were too good for them. They're still hard to oppose, aren't they? With Palace, another side like Southampton, just outside relegation zone, only on goal difference. Palace 2 points from last 7 matches is what I've got here on my notes. Against top sides, Palace lost 3-1 at Chelsea, lost at home to Spurs 1-0 last time out. Lost at home to Liverpool early in the season. Did draw with Arsenal. Remember that one that cost us? Okay, stats. A stats pick here. United have won 6 games this season. 5 of those wins by a single goal margin.
Right.
So, the handicap, European handicaps, there's different bookies dress this up in different ways, hey? But the World Sports Betting call it European handicap. And you take the draw option, yeah?
Right, so exactly by 1 goal. You Man United -1, the draw.
Yes. And the price that I've got for that, 37-20.
Right.
So you're looking for United to win 1-0, 2-1, 3-2.
Another stat, and I don't have it in front of me now, Chris, but you can maybe back this up. Manchester United have conceded a lot of goals, and if I'm not mistaken, something like their last 6 games, you've had both teams find the back of the net.
Probably, I must admit, I looked at the over 2.5 goals, and I think they're top of the log for teams involved in matches with 3 goals or more.
Right.
And when you think about, how Mourinho gets slated for the style of play and everything, and they certainly didn't have many matches last season that were over 2.5 goals. Well, that's not the case this year, and I think it's because they're sloppier in defence than what they have been. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if both teams to score was also the way to go. Have Palace got a goal in them here though? They did score at Chelsea recently in a 3-1 defeat, but I don't know. They're just best left alone at the moment, Palace. Eh?
Yeah, that's a fair comment there. I was tempted by sort of 19-20 both teams to score, but I think I might just sit that one out as well. Then we move on to my team, Watford, currently sitting 7th on the table. They're up against Liverpool at 2 points behind Manchester City. You can get a pretty big price here on Watford, around about the 6-7 to 1 mark, with Liverpool in at around 5 to 10, 11 to 20. Does my team have any chance, Chris?
Well, look, I always enjoy talking to you about Watford games, Brent. And the first thing that I've got here is Watford 20 points from 12, more than halfway to safety. And here we go. They're above Man United in the standings. Now, would you have taken that after 12 matches? I'm sure you would,
absolutely. Just specifically because I've got so many Manchester United mates, many of them in America now, that who constantly drone on about United. And I love the fact that Watford's still ahead of them.
Okay, well, let's try and find some sort of encouragement for a surprise. Yeah, Watford's home form: 1-4, lost 2.
Right.
Only one home game against the so-called elite clubs, if you like, the sort of European football chasers, shall we say.
Right.
And that was Spurs. Watford won that game 2-1.
2-1, okay.
Yeah, but then when you look at Liverpool's form, still unbeaten, 9 wins, 3 draws, only 2 points behind Man City. And the draws came home to City and away at Arsenal and Chelsea. Yeah?
Right.
Sorry, 3 draws for Liverpool. Home to City, away at Arsenal and away at Chelsea. Now, last season, Liverpool had a habit of dropping points in games where they were sort of 5 to 10, 11 to 20 favourites, eh? And they seem to have eradicated this. So, yeah, I'm going to douse the Watford Flames and say that this is going to go to form. Liverpool are going to win. And to look, can Watford score? Yeah, they probably can, but 15 to 20 looked a bit short to me because Liverpool haven't been conceding many goals. So Liverpool win and over 2.5 goals. That's what I came up with, even money. And then you've got like 3-0 Liverpool running for you, or more if Liverpool do run away with it, or if Watford do score but Liverpool still win, 2-1, something like that. Then we're in the money at evens.
Yeah, actually, I was looking at the head-to-head history between these sides. I mean, 3 of the last 4 games they've played have sort of had 5 goals or more in them as far as head-to-head goes. There was the exception 2 seasons ago was a 1-0 victory to Liverpool at Watford. But I think, both of us can win on this one, Chris, because I'm looking over 3.5 goals. And I quite like the look of that at a little bit over even money.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I think last season it was the first game of the season, and it ended up 3-3.
Yeah,
and it could have been 4-4, 5-5. I mean, it was there was chances that went begging as well as 6 goals. So yeah, I mean, there's some history there. Liverpool's always got goals in them, haven't they? Although they haven't been hugely prolific. But yeah, you've got to fancy there's going to be a good few goals. So yeah, I wouldn't argue with that either, Brent.
Right, well, I can tell you, just looking at some of the head-to-head form, that when Liverpool do host Watford later this season, we can certainly be climbing on there. They've scored 11 goals and conceded 1 in their last 2 matches. In fact, they've scored 14 goals and conceded 1 in their last 3 home games against Watford.
So, let's hope that's later in the season when Watford are safe, Brent.
Yeah, when Watford step off the gas a little bit, eh?
The holiday brochures come out in March when they hit 40 points, yeah?
Excellent. Well, let's go on to West Ham up against Manchester City. West Ham clearly have a massive task at their hand. They're in double-figure quotes at home to beat City. And you've got City sort of around about the 1 to 4 levels. And Chris, are you looking at goals or corners or what here?
Yeah, interesting, Brent, because I had to look at a few different angles. I'll leave the selection well last, but West Ham averaging a point again. I like to look at the form against top sides, and I find it a decent pointer. West Ham, they did beat Man U 3-1. Now, at that time, Man U were really battling, hey? More recently, they lost 1-0 to Spurs. Now you look at City, still unbeaten, 10 wins, 2 draws. The draws did come away at Wolves and Liverpool. They've only conceded once away from home, and that was at Wolves in a 1-1 draw. And it was a really dodgy goal as well. It should have been chalked off. I can't believe the assistant didn't see a handball. Now, on that, Brent, what about a Man City clean sheet at 11 to 10?
Yeah, I like that one as well. I mean, City got a good defense, and that's not a bad one at all. So I'm a little bit surprised we're getting over even money on that, Chris.
Yeah, I am. I don't think West Ham's the worst. I actually think a team at the bottom who City might be beating 4 or 5-0 have got more of a chance of scoring against City than a team that that's actually giving them a game. I think City are a different animal this year in terms of like they do look really tight in defence, a bit like Liverpool we were mentioning, yeah. And again, that's a different to last season. But yeah, I mean, stats, there's logic there, hey. So odds against caught my eye, yeah.
Yeah, right. That's West Ham against Manchester City. I'll follow you on that one, Chris. And then the big game of the weekend, it's Spurs up against Chelsea. We got fourth place playing third place here. And interesting to me that Chelsea are favourites here. Did that surprise you? I mean, I knew it would be quite close to betting, but I thought the home team might edge favouritism.
Yeah, I didn't think there'd be too much in it. I think because Chelsea are unbeaten, but I just wonder whether or not they were just going off the boil a little bit. They've had 4 draws this season. Those all came in the last 7 matches, and they were way below par at home to Everton last time. Remember Jeremy Brockie?
Yeah.
He reckoned that Everton would get something at Chelsea, and they certainly did, hey?
Yes, I remember that, yes.
Yeah, so maybe the international break comes at the right time, but of course, players from all these Premier League clubs are off far and wide, during these times. Spurs have had a lot of injuries, Brent, and that might explain it. But I think Vertonghen has a chance of coming back. I do give Spurs a squeak, but what I went with here, both teams to score no. Not usually a market you find me dabbling in.
No,
Both teams to score no. 5 of the last 6 Spurs games you would have collected, and 4 of the last 7 Chelsea matches. Now, if Vertonghen's back for Spurs as well, they've had a youngster playing centre half who's, he hasn't done too badly. I think he got the winning goal at Crystal Palace. But if they've got their first choice defense out, and Chelsea very tight as well. Man City won 1-0 here. Both teams to score. What I liked about it was the price. In summary, 13-10. I thought it was too big.
Okay, excellent. I like your logic on that one as well. Just going back to the West Ham City game, Vin Naidu saying City to win 1-0, 2-0, or 3-0 at 18-10.
That's the multi-score option, hey? We've talked it before, haven't we? Yeah, I like it, Vin.
Yeah, Chris is giving that one the rubber stamp, Vin, so that's a nice price as well, 18-10. That takes us, Chris, to the end of Saturday's action. Let's move on to Sunday's 2 games. We've got Bournemouth up against Arsenal. I haven't had a look at Sunday's games yet, so I'm going to leave this totally in your hands. Arsenal are just around the even money mark to win. Yeah,
definitely. Should there be even money? I'm not sure. They've drawn the last 3, Arsenal, hey? And very disappointing in their most recent match, 1-1 at home to Wolves. Bournemouth, they're 6th. Arsenal are 4 points better off in 5th. Bournemouth at home, 1-3, drawn 2, lost 1. The 1 defeat came to Man United, very late goal. Otherwise, they'd still be unbeaten at home. Stats, over 2.5 goals, 9 of 12 Bournemouth matches you'd have collected, including 4 of 6 home games. Arsenal, 7 of 12 matches you would have collected for 3 goals or more, but that includes all 5 on the road, away from home. That's obviously reflected in the price. I think over 2.5 goals was something like 5-10, certainly not much more than that. Yeah. I've gone for over 3.5 at 11-10. I haven't got enough confidence to back Arsenal at even money, and I don't think Bournemouth are good enough to turn them over.
I was just looking at Sunbet's site. You can actually get 5-4 about that, over 3.5 goals.
Oh, really? That's a much better price than I saw earlier. Yeah. Well, at that then not one I'd be rushing for, but 5-4 sounds a bit more attractive. So a bit more enthusiasm at that price. Yeah.
Vin reckons that Arsenal's attack will take them through, and he's going both teams to score, and Arsenal win at 26-10, which is also, it's a nice bet that as well. 26-10, you can't do too much damage.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, that price certainly makes appeal as well. Oh, Vinny's a shrewdy. I always find myself nodding my head whenever he comes up with a bet, whether it wins or not. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it. Sometimes you can think out the best bet, but it doesn't arrive every time. That's for sure. Wolves up against Huddersfield. Wolves are just shy of 5-10 here on the Sunbet side, and Huddersfield out at 7-1.
Yeah, 5-10 looks way short, doesn't it? To me, anyway. Wolves no winning the last 4, but they did play really well in a 1-1 draw at Arsenal. and also in spells of a 3-2 home defeat to Spurs. You know, they finished that really strongly. They had Spurs on their knees at the end, but they couldn't get an equaliser. Wolves low scoring. We talked about the league table for over 2.5 goals. Wolves are right down there at the bottom of it. Only 2 of 12 matches have gone over 2.5. They were 2 home games though. Huddersfield, 4 points from the last 2, but they were both home games. 1-0 against Fulham, who were awful at the time. 1-1 against West Ham, who were no great shakes. Away from home, they've yet to win. They've drawn a couple. They've lost 3. Yeah, I could see goals because I think Wolves have got to target this to get themselves back on a winning note. 2 to 3 in total, I'm afraid, is the most inspiration I've got for this. And again, that's even money. Yeah,
it's a tough game this. I must say, I also struggled. I mean, I was looking at both teams to score no because I looked at the head-to-head form between the sides, albeit over a period of time, and but I thought that might be worth a go. But at 5 to 10, I just couldn't get involved in that sort of market. So it is a bit of a tough one. This, and yeah, I like the way you're leaning there, Chris.
Yeah, that's it. That's about all I could find for that. Saturday's game's more interesting than the 2 on Sunday for me.
Yeah, definitely. I think Saturday's games will be the focus. We'll give Monday's game a bit of a skip. Now, just quickly, I know you did a preview for the big Chiefs-Pirates clash, the Telkom Cup. So you're going for Chiefs to win on penalties there at 9 to 1. I rather suspected you'd be sticking with Pirates, having backed them the last time.
I thought about it, and I haven't seen whether there's been any price moves over the last, 36 hours or so since I did the preview. But Pirates were 19 to 10, and at first I thought, yeah, I'm going to stick with Pirates. But both teams have got such a lot riding on this, and Chiefs, they've got to end this trophy drought. They really are under pressure. I mean, if they go out of this at the semi-final stage, they're not really a sacking club, Chiefs. They tend to stick with the coach, give him every chance. But, this guy could be on borrowed time, I think Chiefs might have enough to keep Pirates at bay and force a draw. And then when we get into extra time, the longer it goes on, the more likely a penalty shootout. So first of all, I was going to go for the draw in 90 minutes. Then I was going to go for, will there be a penalty shootout? Yes. And then I thought, well, if we get to a penalty shootout, I'd rather have Ntumi Kune on my side between the goalposts for Kaizer Chiefs than the Pirates keeper, who I don't rate. In which case I thought, well, no, let's go the whole hog and let's go with a 9 to 1 shot, Chiefs to win on spot kicks. And you don't need much on that for an interest.
Well, the boys are all agreeing with you. Oracle actually says it's going to go to spot kicks and he reckons penalties. I must tell you, he also complimented your counter earlier on in the show as well.
Oh, I'll sleep better tonight. Thanks, Gavin.
Brent also says the state of the pitch is not great and he can also see the game going to penalties. So, yeah, certainly, I mean, if it goes to penalties and you're sitting on 9 to 1, I mean, you'll probably just ride it out, let's face it, Chris. But, I mean, if you did have a big enough interest, you'd be able to maneuver a little bit if you wanted to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, whether the bookies would see it that way, that Chiefs would be favourites if it went to a penalty shootout because of the Kune factor. Yeah, I don't know, but there was nothing. I really fancied Pirates when they met in the league, but I just didn't get that same feeling for this one. And rather a small play on big odds like a 9 to 1 shot. Not very often you see me tipping a 9 to 1.
Yeah,
in a football match.
Actually, when you check the prices, I thought it was 9 to 1, 2 to 3 goals perhaps in the 90 minutes. The joke is it probably could be in South African football at the moment. But Chris, what else you got for us? Anything in League One?
Yeah, League One, my beloved Sunderland. Now, last week when we had international football, I did nail the draw with the Bafana-Nigeria game. I thought that was a solid enough bet. But I don't play the internationals. UEFA Nations League that was either side of the weekend. I don't get involved. It's a good opportunity to sort of recharge the batteries, But I was interested in the rugby, and like everybody else, I was, like most other people, I was on the Scotland bandwagon last week. But with it being a later kickoff, I thought, no, I've got to have some football interest. And of course, there was League One fixtures. Sunderland at home to mighty Wycombe Wanderers. So I've got my fruit salad and my bottle of water, and I'm following live text commentary, and I'm like, come on, Sunderland, I only need 2 goals from you, which I think I took about 15 to 20, you know?
Yeah.
And 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes, and all you're getting is like, you know, corner to Sunderland, throw into Wickham, foul by Sunderland, whatever, you know, and I'm like, where's the goals? Where's the goal? Yeah, Wickham took the lead. I had to wait 85 minutes for Sunderland to equalise, and then they couldn't, apparently they had a chance right at the death and they blew it. So I double whammy. My Sunderland goals banker, it's been a bit of a gravy train for me, but that was derailed. And then, of course, the rugby didn't go to plan later as well. So it was a weekend to forget. But let's not be deterred, because I had a good look at League One this time. And I am going to back Sunderland. They're at Walsall, who've not done well. You can get just over even money, Sunderland to win. So let's forget the goals. 1-0 will do us. Just win the game, lads. Please, win the game. There's one that I like better. When I look at the League One coupon, there's sides Portsmouth away at Scunthorpe, Luton away at Gillingham, and then Sunderland away at Walsall. You know, you could say that these all fall into the too obvious category. And I thought, where's a good solid home bet? Charlton at home to Bristol Rovers, 17 to 20. I could not believe it. I think it's a cracking bet. Charlton are going to push for promotion, I'm telling you. They had loads of injuries at the start of the season. They're starting to put it together. Bristol Rovers, they're not going to frighten anybody, especially when they travel. So my best bets, Brent, if we're going to come to them, League One, Charlton to beat Bristol Rovers, and Everton -1. For their home game, yeah?
Okay.
And then if we want additional interest in League One, let's have Charlton to beat Bristol Rovers, Sunderland to win at Walsall double, which should be approaching 3-1 off the top of my head.
Okay, and Vince is pointing out, and we did sort of do it on purpose, but there's Burnley against Newcastle on Monday. Anything on that game as yet for you?
Yeah, I'll look at it over the weekend and I'll put something on good for the game. It'd be another one of those. Newcastle have improved a couple of wins. They were home wins and narrow ones, but credit to them because they were having an awful time of it. Burnley also having a bad time. First thought is the draw. But I'll look at it over the weekend and we'll put something on good for the game.
Excellent. Well, Chris, thanks very much for joining me for the English Premier League show. Thanks to the boys with their live comments. And, watch the GG Gaming Gone Mad show where we preview the Wales v South Africa test. There's also some interesting promotions, including one Gary came up right at the end about a horse of his that's running on Saturday. So you want to check that out. I'll put the link to that show on at the end of this show as well. So you'll be able to click straight through to it if you're watching the recording. And we'll also link through to our handicap show as well. By all means, please subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos. And share if you think you've got a mate who's interested in English Premier League betting, for example. Please share it with them. We'd like to grow this forum as much as possible. Chris, thanks a lot, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks, Brent. Have a good weekend punting, everyone.
Excellent. Enjoy the punting, everyone.